As with every year, the young and young at heart are swept up in knowledge fever for 1 week in September. This is because of the 15th Lower Silesian Science Festival, an annual event organized by the most important academies and universities of Wrocław. This year's festival expanded into the following towns: Legnica, Dzierżoniów, Jelenia Góra, Ząbkowice Śląskie, Zgorzelec, Bystrzyca Kłodzka and Wałbrzych.
16 lat temu festiwalu nie było, po prostu nie było.
16 years ago, the festival just didn't exist. The event, which is now strongly set in the scientific and cultural life of our city, was actually absent. The beginning was a real social movement. We tried to make people feel a bit like they were in the atmosphere of real scientist laboratories. There were literally only a few festival events then. During this year's edition, almost 120,000 participants took part in nearly 1,300 events of the festival. The inaugural address, entitled The Youngest Generation's Language, Projections of Tomorrow's Language, was delivered in Wrocław by Professor Jan Miodek.
Ponieważ w festiwalu nauki
Because of the fact that most of the festival participants are young, I prefer giving lectures connected to the most important trends in the evolution of contemporary Polish. I pay special attention to changes in grammar and stylistics which the younger generation are using. The slogan of this year's festival, "Let's Discover the World Together," best describes its character. Regardless of age, education, or interest, participants were able to take part in numerous lectures, workshops, presentations, and games. Like a kaleidoscope, humanities, engineering, sciences, and fine arts were mixed together, not allowing even the most impatient to get bored.
Dla Pitagorasa różne kwestie bardzo mocno się zazębiały i w jego szkole wypracowano m.in. słynne twierdzenie o trójkącie prostokątnym. Zajmował się również badaniami nad stroniem muzycznym.
Świat jest ciekawy i nie można...
The world is interesting, and you cannot look at it only in pieces. Many of the lectures given during the festival, for example the one which depicted sound in graph form, showed that many aspects of knowledge engage each other. This is why you cannot say a person is a pure humanist or scientist. To be a fully educated person, a Renaissance man if you will, you should be interested in every aspect, even if just a little bit. Only then can you appreciate the beauty and complexity of the world.
Zajmować wszystkim, wtedy dopiero docenia się piękno i złożoność świata.
Robot budzi wielkie emocje.
The robot always causes a reaction when we present it, especially amongst the youngest, who treat it like it's alive. Once they realize that an object can move, kids try to interact with it, as if the robot were a real person in fact. Perhaps some of the children in few years will explore this area of knowledge and move our country forward, at least I hope.
Tą dziedzinę wiedzy i popchną nasz kraj do przodu, mam nadzieję.
Na dnie akurat tego krateru, na przykład w latach 60. prowadzone były badania nad projektem Apollo.
Zadania w pracowni malarstwa polegały na...
The task in the non-painting workshop consisted of making a great masterpiece. Children were filling in with colors the contour drawing, The Three Musicians by Pablo Picasso. In 2 hours they created their masterpieces and were able to take them home afterward.
Zrobili sobie wielkie dzieło, które zabrali do domu.
Wyższa Szkoła Oficerska Wojsk Lądowych we Wrocławiu od początku...
The Military Academy of Land Forces is not only an academy, but also a military unit. Because of the Lower Silesian Science Festival, we have the opportunity to show the public the equipment which is used to teach and train cadets, equipment that is normally kept behind barriers and walls.
Coś, co tak naprawdę na co dzień jest zamknięte poza szlabanem, poza murami.
Maraton matematyczny.
The Mathematics Marathon is an event that I think is strongly characteristic of the festival. This is the 11th marathon which has been held and the 8th I have taken part in, so inevitably I associate it with the festival.
Nieodłącznie mi się kojarzy z tym festiwalem.
i regulujemy prędkość w tym dużym prędkość.
Prezentuję tutaj Państwu pojazd.
I am presenting here a no-emission vehicle which is being driven on vapors of liquid nitrogen. It drives up to 20 kilometers per hour and doesn't emit any exhaust fumes into the atmosphere. We launched this vehicle the day before yesterday for the first time, so we are still in the test phase.
Jesteśmy na etapie cały czas testów.
Public concerns regarding ACTA were once again raised during the festival. In an auditorium filled with scholars and students, an Oxford-style debate entitled ACTA, New Alexandria or the World According to Orwell took place, producing a clash of opinion from students of the two debate schools invited.
Kontroli w dzisiejszym internecie prawie nie ma. Może istnieją takie ustawy, które o tym mówią, ale nie ma prawa, które by egzekwowało takie zasady.
Duża ta kontrola w internecie. Powiększenie jej może okazać się zbyt dużym krokiem.
Wymiana dóbr intelektualnych w internecie musi być kontrolowana i chroniona.
Mówisz o tym, że internet powinien być czysty, tak, pozbawiony piractwa, kradzieży i tak dalej. To się zdarza wszędzie, okej, staramy się w internecie to wyeliminować, ale co kiedy ta kontrola zmieni się w cenzurę, w dobieranie informacji ogólnodostępnych do własnej korzyści? Co wtedy i jak do tego może się odnieść społeczeństwo?
At the festival's Park of Knowledge on the Wrocław Old Town Promenade, science was once again interfused with everyday reality, filling it with the magic of new discoveries. In such a fun atmosphere, you could see a world of well-known and common activities and places from a completely different, scientific point of view.
Staramy się pokazać wszystkim, co robimy, w jaki sposób pracujemy i
we attempt to show the public what we do, how we work, and especially how to use research performed in laboratories for everyday life at home. Many people are surprised at things which are quite obvious, but it's thanks to this we are able to explain how the ideas can be used practically.
Ale dzięki temu jesteśmy w stanie pokazać, jak ta nauka jest wykorzystana w życiu praktycznym.
Zabrakło mi jednej baterii do pilota.
I was missing a battery in the remote control, so the first thing I did was to take a jar of pickles and stick each of them with copper wire and a lead nail. Electrons more readily pass from lead nails to copper wire. I have joined 9 cucumbers together in a series. Here we have a voltmeter. It will tell us the voltage we can get out of the 9 pickles. Look, we have 1.5 volts. The university has a lot of student groups who come to the festival to display some of their achievements. And it really is fascinating to watch the little kids' amazed reactions to the different phenomena, different demonstrations taking place. The Lower Silesian Science Festival has for many years been part of the European Science Events Association, the EUSEA, the organization responsible for the Places project, which in turn seeks to popularize science. Wrocław is one of 69 European cities participating in the Places project.
Główną ideą projektu Places jest wypracowanie przez
The main idea of the Places project is to develop in 69 European cities the idea of the European City of Science Culture. Each of the participating cities is obliged to formalize its own plan for local activities. The scope of our local plan is limited to non-school forms of education, teaching, dissemination, and commercialization of knowledge. As the plan is created especially to serve the people of Wrocław and Lower Silesia, their opinion is important to us.
Zdanie mieszkańców na temat tego planu jest dla nas kluczowe.
Public consultations were organized during the festival in order to enable Wrocław citizens to express their opinions on important local matters related to the Places project. The Lower Silesian Science Festival is primarily thousands of people with their heads full of ideas, hearts full of desire for action and hands ready to work. Starting with university authorities, moving through academics and doctors, to students of all classes, every year these people volunteer to organize the festival, with many of them preparing year-round for next year's edition.
Festiwal Nauki jest potrzebny również środowisku.
As it offers the opportunity to present achievements to the public, the Science Festival is also necessary for the scientific community. Working on science, on beautiful things, wouldn't make sense if we couldn't share the fascination of what we're doing on an everyday basis.
Nad czym pracujemy codziennie.
It is impossible to imagine Lower Silesia in Wrocław without the Lower Silesian Science Festival, which for several days annually transforms universities into places filled with positive energy and lets the public come in contact with the most attractive forms of science. It arouses in the festival participants new and hidden passions and dreams.
Chcielibyśmy zaproponować już od tego roku, aby szkoły albo instytucje
We would like to propose from this year forward that schools and cultural institutions be able to request that certain events and displays be repeated. There is a website coming soon with all the necessary information. I wholeheartedly invite the schools and institutions to expand the festival to be a year-round event.